Well, Micah is one of the minor prophets, included, that is to say, within the Book of the 12 within the Hebrew Bible.
And Micah's a bit like Amos, I think, in that he is a rural prophet. He seems to have been from the country south of Jerusalem, so not in the sort of ruling class.
This book, Micah, is really the pronouncement of Micah of Moresheth in the days of kings Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah of Judah. So that means he's a prophet in the kingdom of Judah during the reign of these kings.
Micah himself historically was active during the 8th century BCE.
Maybe a contemporary of Isaiah, or of Isaiah, I guess that's how it's said here.
Micah also attacks very vehemently the prophets of his time, accusing them of just being corrupt, of being in it simply for the living that they can make out of it, and saying that they're really wrapped up in darkness rather than serving any useful and helpful purpose.
It seems to me the book is carefully structured and very rhetorical. In one section, for example, he sets it out as if it were in a law court. He says, "Please plead your case before the mountains and let the hills hear your voice. Hear, you mountains, the controversy of the Lord, and you enduring foundations of the earth. For the Lord has a controversy with his people, and he will contend with Israel." And then Israel has to defend itself and really has no defense.
Essentially, a prophecy will serve as a warning, an opportunity. Like, here you've seen what you've done wrong. There's a chance to repent. You fix things. But it also provides the pronouncements of, should you choose not to do these things, here's what God is going to do. He's going to take you into exile. He's going to bring you low so that you become the marginalized person.
There is one section that's often referred to because it seems to contain a prophecy about the Messiah. And this is the passage that actually names Bethlehem as the place where the Messiah will come.
Okay, we are standing between Jerusalem and Bethlehem and looking towards Bethlehem. So what we see in the background, this mountain which looks like a volcano, is an artificial mount, and on top of this mount, Herod, the king of Jerusalem in the time when Jesus was born, had on top of this mountain a wonderful fortress, a palace, and now archaeologists claim that they even have found the tomb of Herod close to this palace fortress. And not far away in the foreground, where you see the lights, is what is called the shepherd fields. So the traditional place where people venerate the coming of the angel and the birth of Jesus in one of the caves around Bethlehem. Whereas if we turn a little bit to the right, we see in the background the hilltop, and on top of the hill there is the ancient city, so to speak, of Bethlehem. So here we have the Church of the Nativity.
Why are we standing here on the road? Why are we not over there? What's the situation?
The situation is that if you come closer, you have the checkpoint and you will see this wall which the Israelis built as a security measures. So it's very complicated to enter, especially with the camera, through all the security checks. So it's easier for us without having enough time to do it from here.
It's viewed as important for Christians and for New Testament scholars because it's sort of in one way, it's confirming Jesus before Jesus was there. So it's viewed as a prophetic fulfillment, like that sort of lends credence to to Jesus being the Messiah or the anointed one of Israel, who's supposed to be the new ruler of Israel in a different way than people anticipated. Not just us who get excited about it, but really it's something that New Testament authors themselves were very excited about. And so particularly Matthew, he really draws from Old Testament references and says, it's a prophecy that Jesus is the fulfillment, or really the fullness of this prophecy.
Scholars often argue that it's only the first 3 chapters of the 7 chapters of the book that can be definitely and distinctly traced to Micah's own words, we have another 4 chapters, chapters 4 to 7, in which there might be material from Micah, but many scholars argue that much of this material is from a later period. It reflects again, as in the case of some of the other prophetic books, the expansion, the extension, the development, the reinterpretation of the words of the original prophet. The beginning of chapter 4 is quite striking, because in contrast to the immediately preceding end of chapter 3 with this announcement of the destruction of Jerusalem and its temple, the beginning of chapter 4 presents us with a vision of a wonderful future in which the temple will be restored, and not only the people of Judah and Jerusalem, but people from other nations will also come and visit the temple to learn there about the God of Israel.
I'm always struck by the incredible poetry of the Old Testament. The Lord is coming out of his place and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth. Then the mountains will melt under him, and the valleys will burst open like wax near the fire, like waters poured down a steep place.
There's been a fair bit of discussion as to what kind of character Micah may have been. As I said, the emphasis seems to be that Micah is himself very much a person of the kingdom of Judah. He's at home there. Various suggestions have been made about his particular kind of social status, his particular social location. Some have said, oh, well, he must have been one of these poor oppressed farmers himself to speak in this very bitter way as he does. But that doesn't necessarily follow. The prophets are convinced that they have a message from God, and we can't necessarily trace a direct line from the way that they speak to their own social status and so on. But it would be hard to believe that Micah's message, insofar as it's contained within those opening chapters of the book, hard to believe that that message would have been very welcome.
We know that the Assyrians were, in the lifetime of Micah, invading. They captured Samaria, which was the northern kingdom of Israel. And by 401, which is when this prophecy seems to have ended, they were at the gates of Jerusalem. But this is seen as God's punishment on the people, and this is how the prophet interprets it in this oracle.